Hello, friends. Welcome to Coding Garden. If you're watching this, you're probably watching it as a YouTube VOD. So be sure to check the description and also check the seek bar so you can jump to where the content actually starts. We're going to get started in about 10 minutes. So in the meantime, just hang out in the waiting room. All right, we'll see you. Hello, friends. Welcome to Coding Garden. Welcome to the Friday stream over on YouTube. This is the first time we're doing a listed stream over here on YouTube, but we're going to be working on Listed, which is a full stack app built with SvelteKit that will allow users to create, share, and watch lists of YouTube channels. So let me give you a rundown of what it does. We'll say hello to everyone, and then we'll get started. It's been over a month since the last time we worked on this thing. So in terms of what we're going to do, we're probably going to start off with just updating our dependencies. So let's just add that to the list. And then we'll pick up where we left off. Which I don't remember. Yeah, so we've been working on integration tests and making sure we have good test coverage. And so right now we're on a feature branch called Setup Coverage Reports. And we'll be done with this when we write a few more tests. But we're gonna have to refresh our memories of what we were working on. But let me tell you what this app does, so you can know what we're actually working on. So it's called Listed. You can create lists. So a list has a name, a description, a visibility, and then you can add YouTube channels to it. So for instance, let's say I wanted to create a list of JavaScript related YouTube channels. I could search for Coding Garden. I could see all the YouTube channels that match that. I could add them to the list here. I could search for like web dev, probably find, yeah, web dev simplified. And we also want like Traversy media, and then we probably also want Joy of Code, like that. So you can add all of these channels here. So let's call this JS channels, all the cool JS channels. I guess we'll add Wes Boss too. He's cool. So this list is going to have videos from all of these channels, and then if we click create, if nothing's broken. Right now, it's reaching out to the YouTube API, getting the YouTube videos for all of these channels, and caching them. So that's why this is taking a really long time, because it's getting the metadata for every single video for every one of these channels. And hopefully it doesn't break, because this is the first time I'm running it. Yeah, it broke. We're going to have to debug that. Though I think someone has an issue open right now where they're like trying to fix it. Is this the issue? Like, no filter selected, expected one of ID, my rating, or chart. Not sure. But if it did work, it would look like this. Let me show you, because we have some cached lists. So I'll show you, like for instance, Svelte channels. So this is a list that has Svelte Society, Svelte Mastery, and Joy of Code. And you can see there's a single feed here that has all three channels. Right now they're in order of when they were published. So the idea here is you can create lists of basically things you like to watch. Like one example that's not code related for me is called Silent Asia. So there's a lot of channels on YouTube where the creators are typically from Asia, like Korea or Japan or Singapore, in other places as well. And they post videos, like travel style videos, where they don't talk at all. And some of them are also like food focused. And so this is an example of a playlist that just has these Silent Asia cooking and travel videos, which are sometimes fun to just put on and watch. And so you can click them. They'll start playing. And yeah, that's about it. That's what this thing does. We have done this much work on it, but we basically spent the last 3 or 4 streams setting up end-to-end tests so that we can consistently run the tests every time. So every time we run the test suite, it will spin up a test database from scratch. It'll run the migrations, it'll run seeds. It will then do all of the tests, and each test is also run in isolation, and that we can have multiple tests all running at the same time, and they're each using their own set of data so they don't conflict with each other. So we spent a lot of time setting all of that up. So basically we have some really consistent end-to-end tests that can all be run in parallel and can spin up the database and spin it back down every time. Yeah, I mean, we joke that it's configuration development, but I mean, a lot of the stuff has been like Docker Compose configuration and Playwright configuration and ESLint configuration and different things like that. Yeah, so all of the stuff is on the web. If you go to cdg.sh/listed-code, cdg.sh/listed-code, if you go there, that'll take you to GitHub, and the code is here. And a lot of the streams, we also have been accepting pull requests. You can see that there are 22 contributors. 22 people have made fixes or added things. I would say right now, because we're in a state of flux in terms of getting the test set up, I wouldn't submit any PRs right now because we also have a few PRs open. But that's one of the main reasons I was working so much on these tests and everything is I want to be able to have a full and consistent test suite. So that way, when somebody makes a PR, if the tests break, like they know that they need to fix those tests until I'll even review the PR. And then also, if they add new features, they need to add tests that validate the features that they added. And if they didn't, I won't accept the pull request. So that's why we've been spending so much time on this, is because full integrated and consistent. And thank you, Eddie. That's awesome. I appreciate that. But full integrated and consistent test suites allow us to collaborate much more effectively, and also allow us to make our own changes with confidence because we know we can run the test suites. But right now, it appears to be broken. It appears to be broken. So we'll probably fix that bug first, where the videos aren't populating. I think there's a PR that fixes it right now, if it's the issue that I'm thinking of. But let's just add that to the list. Fix bug or merge PR. We'll do that. Honestly, we'll do that before we even update dependencies. Cool. So yeah, this is listed. And let's talk about the tech stack. Also, do we have? Yeah. So it's our second. That's the second thing we're gonna do, Dr. Phantom, is update dependencies. Yeah, it's in the to-do. I feel like, do we have a list of tech that we're using? I thought we did. I thought we did a rundown of all of the things that the app is built with. I guess we didn't. Is it in the devlog? Is it on the main branch? We're gonna do that right now then, because that's some important information. So let's do it. Here we go. So there's like back-end tech, there's front-end tech. On the back end, we are using SvelteKit. So SvelteKit is so Svelte is a front-end framework. And actually, we'll put that on the front end. Like, technically, we are using Svelte on the front end, but we're using Svelte via SvelteKit. But if you look at SvelteKit, it is a meta framework for building full stack applications. And so we're using Svelte. Yeah, I guess technically the front end is SvelteKit. So let's I'll give you also, it's because it's been so long since we worked on it, I'll give you a tour of the code base as well. But basically, the things that SvelteKit give us are things like file-based routing. So we have this folder called routes, and then every possible route can have a layout file or a page file or a server file. And so let's say we also have so we have protected routes like the dashboard and onboarding. And so SvelteKit allows us to do that. Basically, we have these folders, and then if a folder has a plus page file inside of it, then that's going to be a route inside of a route. So SvelteKit takes care of that. If you look at an individual component, like let's say the list form. So this is what we were looking at earlier. This is the form for creating a new list. This is Svelte, and that like it's a component. It has state, various other things like that. And so that's Svelte. But one of the SvelteKit aspects of this is that these components can also be server-side rendered. So the first time the page loads, these components are actually rendered on the server side, and HTML and JavaScript is returned to the client. But then after that, it's purely Svelte running inside of the web browser. So that's why I'm also mentioning Svelte and SvelteKit. Okay, so that's the main thing we're using here. In terms of our database, we're using Postgres. So like just-in-time compiling, I wouldn't consider it just-in-time compiling, but it's server-side rendering. So if you've ever used like a templating library inside of Express that returns HTML for requests, it's a similar thing, but it's a bit more complex than that because it also does a thing called hydration, which basically allows it to be server rendered, but then also it turns into an interactive client app whenever it loads into the browser. So we're using Postgres for our database, and we're using Prisma to talk to that database. So Prisma is an ORM, an object relational mapper that has really good TypeScript support and a whole ecosystem of things. So we'll throw that in here. But if you look in our code base, we have this Prisma schema right here that describes our Postgres database. So we have, for instance, a user model, we have some enums, we have user settings, because a user has various settings about their locale and onboarding. We're storing a bunch of different locales in our database. A user has an account because we use OAuth. A user has a session when they're logged in, along with a verification token. A list is where we store information about a list. A list can have list items. List items can have list item metadata. And then right now specifically, we also have YouTube metadata. So each one of these models corresponds to a table in our database. And basically Prisma allows us to define our models this way. It generates the SQL code to actually create these tables inside of Postgres. So I didn't create this file. This file is auto-generated based on my schema file. And then it also generates a typed library for us. So if we look, for instance, in somewhere that has database code, like let's look in routes, and then let's say you want to look at one specific list. Yeah, so this right here. So Prisma client.list is generated as a part of that client, which gives us full types here. So list corresponds to the list table in our Postgres database, and then we have a bunch of model functions like find first, delete many, delete one, that kind of thing. And it's all fully typed. So right here, when I'm doing a where query, it knows all of the properties within the specific list type, and I can query against those. So that's what Prisma gives us. It lets us talk to the database, but also gives us really good TypeScript support. And we do other cool things, like we have a entity relationship diagram that gets auto-generated based on our schema. So what's cool about Prisma is the schema becomes the source of truth, and from that one source of truth, we can get things like diagrams, TypeScript, SQL, all of that good stuff. Yeah. Add a pin message to the YouTube channel on Twitch. Oh, one of the mods can do that. I guess I'll do that. Let's do it. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Also, do you all like my thumbnail? I typically when I go live, I don't have like a unique thumbnail associated with the live stream, but I'm going to start creating a specific thumbnail for my live streams, so people will be more likely to click on it. How am I doing? I'm doing all right. As you can see, I have quite a bit of energy. I'm feeling okay. I'm talking about all this stuff, which is fun. Let's see. Oh, I guess we would have to use like Chat GPT plugins if we wanted it to do something like generate a README based on the project. But yeah. So I18N is both backend and front end, but we'll just have a section for like miscellaneous or general. So I18N, type-safe I18N. We'll talk about. Let me catch up on chat, and then we'll talk about type-safe I18N. But one of the other aspects of this application is it is internationalized, and that what that entails is anywhere there is text inside of the app, we don't just have the text inside of our templates. We put it all in one spot so that it can be translated into other languages, and then we bring those tokens in. So, for instance, like how this button says create or this button says log out, those are tokens that can be translated into other languages. And so we use that library for that, but I'll show you how that works in a second. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talk about Drizzle over Prisma. Do I have any thoughts on Drizzle? I haven't used it, but one of the aspects of Drizzle is there is no generation. The types are inferred automatically. So one of the things about Prisma is if you change the schema, if you change this file, Prisma actually generates code. So there's a process that needs to run that will literally generate your types inside of node modules. So if you look in node modules, Prisma client, all of this code is generated based on the schema file. And if your schema file is really big, that generation could take a long time. Sometimes it could be out of sync if you don't run the generation tool. So that's one of the downsides of having code generation like this. Drizzle does not do code generation. Drizzle, the types just flow through. And I haven't used it. I just know this because I've seen it. So if we look, show me an example. Yeah, so basically instead of code generation, you just get types. So you define a table like this, and then users right there has a type attached to it that doesn't need to be generated. It can just be used and inferred inside of your code base. So that's why people really like Drizzle, is there's no generation. It's just based on the code that you've written. So the moment you change this model, that type has been updated everywhere. You don't need to run some sort of generation tool. So that's cool. But I will say one of the things I like about Prisma is the ecosystem, right? So the fact that I can generate an ERD based on the schema, I can also generate like a TRPC router based on the schema. There's plugins for all kinds of things for Prisma, and that would be one of the reasons I use Prisma, just because of the ecosystem. But let me show you really quick our entity relationship diagram. So this diagram is our database, and this gets auto-generated and stays up to date with the Prisma schema file. So anytime our schema file changes, this automatically gets created. And that's a plugin that I wrote based on someone else's plugin. But that's why I like Prisma, is because of the ecosystem. So yeah. You could actually integrate a .end API into this project. I have a project in mind that I'm building. Well, the thing is, with SvelteKit, because it has server-side rendering, it also does like database querying within the app itself. So like you technically could call some other API from within our backend routes here, but I wouldn't do that unless I really needed to use .NET for some reason. So yeah, all of my backend code just is TypeScript and sits right alongside SvelteKit. But yeah, so Prisma is similar to things like Entity Core, for sure, if you're coming from the .NET world. Yeah. Yeah, I swapped to YouTube because the discovery and the discovery is better. And then also, when I'm done live streaming, YouTube will still recommend my live stream to thousands and thousands of people. On Twitch, when you are done live streaming, that's basically it for discoverability. No one's going to see your live stream VOD unless they already know about you, which is not good for growth. So yeah. Thank you, BTRSL. The t-shirt blends into the background? Yeah, it's kind of the same color, huh? I generated this using Midjourney. Actually, I guess, so I have chats to catch up. I'm 4 minutes behind on chat, but I've been playing around with new YouTube thumbnails like this. And I've I used Midjourney to generate like these minimalist nature backgrounds. Also like these. I changed these thumbnails slightly with these nature backgrounds and then like added them to these two. So I think this is gonna be my new style. I have like a minimal nature background with like a simple title. Yeah. But yeah, exactly. I created the thumbnail right before the stream. um Yeah, like if you're gonna combine Svelte with some other backend, you probably don't want SvelteKit. You probably just want Svelte itself. But then you would need some kind of like client-side router. I guess like technically you could use SvelteKit as a client-side only single-page application framework, but it's really meant to be server rendered. I don't know. Yeah, so and that's the other thing about Prisma is like I don't have a lot of experience deploying applications that use Prisma, and so people tend to run into issues with Prisma running in like a serverless or an edge function because sometimes it takes too long to generate, or sometimes the generated code is too big. But I haven't run into those issues. Yeah, it's been a while. Arvind, welcome in. Will I be teaching and mentoring any other batch soon? It's not on the schedule, but I probably should. It would be fun to do another React Roots type thing, but some other topic. I want to do it, but I don't know when I'll do it. Are we maintaining that npm package? No. I mean, I say no, but like there's an open issue right now that I have not resolved. I saw it. I need to resolve the issue. This one here. They opened it a month ago. That's not that bad. At least I'm aware that there's an issue and I need to fix it. To create a weather app, is it mandatory to use an API service like OpenWeatherMap, or can we do that on our own as well? You need weather data. How do you get that weather data? Typically via some sort of API. And there are a lot of them. I would look at Pirate Weather. This is the new thing. People used to use the Dark Sky API. This is the new thing. You should use this API. I don't know how much it costs, though. I don't know if you can use it for free. But yeah, you're going to need some kind of weather API. I've heard of Elixir and Phoenix. I haven't used them. No, I didn't cut the collar off this. You could debug the issue with the code generation. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't have the experience to talk to that, but maybe. Yeah. We need to do another devlog. So I don't know if we're going to do a devlog today. Maybe we will. Maybe I have the energy to, but basically we need a devlog that talks about how we set up end-to-end tests and coverage reports. Yeah. Do I have any predictions or wish lists for Svelte 4? No, I haven't even seen Rich's tweets. I don't know what's coming. Let's keep talking tech stack though. So yeah, we're using TypeSafe I18 in. They have a plans tab. Cool. So I mean, I'm curious though. Is it free? Do they have a free tier? You get forecast, historic weather, 10,000 requests each month. Yeah, I mean, you could like put this in a little serverless function with caching, and you could do all right with the free tier. And then also $2 a month is not bad for double the requests. Cool. Seems like a nice API. This is the package we're using, but first, the maintainer of this package actually passed away. I think it was Oscar that posted the news in the Discord. So that's sad. Let's have a moment of silence for Ivan. But yeah, that happened. Okay. I'm not sure. Yeah, honestly, let me pull up the news article just so we can know exactly what happened. But yeah, it's pretty sad. I don't have any cooking streams planned, but I do want to do more. I might have to. Let me see if I can find it in the Discord. Thanks, Dr. Fandom. An old school rapper. Thank you for that tier 1. Oh yeah. It was death by heart attack. It's crazy. Crazy. So died by a heart attack near the finish line. Of an ultra race. So that's unfortunate. I guess I am curious, like, if someone will take over the maintenance of this library and various other libraries. But yeah. Oh, Svelte 5. Yeah, I still don't know what's coming up in Svelte 5. Yeah. Building an app with a Django backend. Should I use React, Vite, or Next for my front end? It's up to you. It's really up to you. Oh no, it's not up to you. Use React and Vite. I thought you had Vue in the list. I thought you were asking between React and Vue, but no. Don't use Next.js because Next.js will be server rendered, and Django is also already running on a server. So you could build a React app that's purely client that talks to your Django backend. Though, in my experience, or at least what I know of it, Django typically does its own server side rendering. You typically, like, if you're building a backend API only, you might use something like Flask. You might search the web for like Django React template, like using React with Django. I haven't done this before, but that's you're gonna need to find some sort of way to integrate the two. So yeah. Yeah. Isn't Next already with Express? No, Next is its own thing entirely. Yeah, so it depends on what you're trying to do. Like if you're trying to do some really complex queries with an ORM, sometimes that's where you'll run into issues. So far, with what we're trying to do in this app, we haven't run into any issues with Prisma. But so far, our queries have been fairly simple. I mean, not really. I mean, not even though. Like the fact that I can do this. So this would actually be 3 joins, and then the data would need to be reconfigured after that. So I mean, the fact that I can do this in a single query with Prisma and it's nice and readable, like this is infinitely more readable than like a triple join SQL query. And this works, but I guess it depends on what you're trying to do for complex relationships. Yeah, that's my break timer that keeps popping up. Yeah, so that was the other thing is Ivan actually saw that I was using his library, and then he opened a PR that fixed some things for us. So yeah. Yeah. Open source contribution. How can we do that for career growth? Well, the simplest thing is to just do open source. Like just work on issues, and then you'll just start to build up the experience, and then also build up the history of like closed pull requests and stuff like that. Eventually, once you have that history, you can use that. You can put that on your resume. You can see like I'm a contributor to this library. Or eventually, once you contribute a lot, that's how a lot of core contributors get added to the core team of a project. They were typically just users of a library or like casuals, but then they started working on issues, and then the maintainer was like, "Hey, you should come be a co-maintainer." And then if you're a co-maintainer, you can also put that on your resume. So my advice is just start doing it. Yeah. I'm using Next for a lot of things. For auth, I use Next. Is there a good alternative for SvelteKit as well? Well, my friend, you have gotten us back on track. let's talk about what we're using here for auth. So we're using auth core, auth.js. which comes from the same team that brought you Next.js auth. Yeah, auth.js is how they write it. But so this is a super interesting project. It comes from the same team that created Next.js or Next.auth. So if you go to nextauth.com, it actually looks exactly like this. I don't know where they're at in the process, but basically, eventually Next.auth will go away and it will just be auth.js. And the idea is they have a standard set of things that can be that you can create an adapter for to bring it into another framework. So for example, there's an adapter for auth.js for Next.js. There's one for SvelteKit. There's one for SolidStart. Eventually, someone will probably create one for like Nuxt and different things like that. So we're using auth.js, and it's very similar to Next.auth, but it's in its early days. So we had to do quite a bit of extra work to get things working the way we wanted in terms of like customizing our session object and customizing our types. It was a little tricky getting things exactly the way we wanted. And there were some bugs early on because we started using it like less than a month after they released it, and I think it's still technically in either alpha. Yeah, it's experimental. It's not a stable release yet. But this would be the thing to use. There are other packages, but this is probably the way to go, just because eventually, once it's stable, this is going to be the standard, very similar to how Passport.js was the standard for like Express apps. Eventually, auth.js is going to be the standard for like meta framework authentication. Yeah. 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 So right now, I don't have anything set in stone, but I'm thinking Monday and Friday will be a Coding Garden stream. And right now, Friday streams will be SvelteKit, the SvelteKit listed app. Monday will be like a code Q&A, or maybe we'll do more specific things on Monday. So 2 streams a week. Tuesdays and Thursdays are set aside for IRL streaming on my personal channel. This week I only did 1 IRL stream. But yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays will be my hang out, walk, play video games kind of day. And Wednesdays will potentially be supporters only streams. So if you're a YouTube member, a patron, or a Twitch sub, there are members only channels in the Discord. And it's been a while since I did a members only live stream, but I'm thinking Wednesdays will be reserved for that. So that's the schedule I have in my head. It's not set in stone, but I think that's what we're doing right now. I'm not planning a new series. Honestly, series just don't do as well. So like we are like 17 or 18 live streams into this app that I'm talking about right now. So like we have worked on this exact same app for I think either like 17 or 18 different live streams. For someone that's new, coming in new, that's a lot to catch up on. So for my content creator brain and like trying to grow on YouTube and such, it's like I can't do those kinds of things. Like I can't do something that requires so much background knowledge for new people coming in. So very likely after we get listed in a good spot, most of the Coding Garden streams are going to be like one-off. Like maybe 3 videos at most in a series. I can't do like 5 or more videos in a series because they just don't do as well. What's up, Chet? Yeah. What's up, Undict? Yeah, auth.js is still experimental. Yeah. TypeSafe 18in is supposed to get archived as soon as they get access to the GitHub account. That's unfortunate. We'll have to find an alternative. But it shouldn't be that hard to migrate once we find an alternative. Yeah, so the people from another library aren't going to take over the maintenance. That makes sense. Quilenza says, I'm currently on your React Roots course. I've done 3 lessons. Thank you for explaining in detail what's going on in React. You make it crystal clear. The exercises are really good. Glad to hear it, Quilenza. That might be the first raving review we've gotten for my React Roots course. If you're interested in learning React, check out reactroots.com. It has all the info. And so my course teaches React with TypeScript. So you're learning the basics of TypeScript and the basics of React together. And the other thing is I do my best to also give you context for modern front-end web development. So you're not just learning React. Some of the first lessons in the course, you can see the breakdown of every lesson, really talk about like what's happening, like why do we have build tools, and different things like that. So, and then also like what's the relationship between JavaScript modules, TypeScript, and React. And like when I'm looking at a React component file, which parts of it is React and which parts of it is JavaScript versus TypeScript. I really try to do my best to teach you that and break all of that down, because most courses don't. Most courses, and I know this because a lot of React beginners that I've come across, when they're looking at like TypeScript and React code, they don't know what is what. Like they think it's all React or they think it's TypeScript, and the issue is if you can't differentiate them and you can't if you don't have a good grasp of what each thing is and what each thing is doing in the process of front end dev, you're gonna have a hard time debugging and a hard time like breaking things down and working with those things. So that's what I think I do good in that course. Oh yeah, and then let's talk about front end. So yeah, we're using auth.js for all the auth. I'll point out really quick all the custom things that we're doing. So you can see right here we have this handle auth function. So this is a middleware that's going to run for every single request that comes into our app. Basically, if there is a token in the cookie, this middleware is able to pull that in, determine if the user is a valid user, and all that good stuff. Let's take a quick stretch. You can see we have a couple of hooks here. So anytime a new user is created, we create their settings in the database because every user needs some settings. But we also needed some custom queries. So you'll see that this Prisma adapter is actually a custom Prisma adapter, and we're wrapping the existing Prisma adapter that comes from NextAuth. Because we wanted to override the get user function, the get user by email, get user by account. Like right now, there's not a good way to override these functions when you're using NextAuth or when you're using auth.js. So we had to write a custom adapter so that we could have custom queries to put things on the user object and stuff like that. So that's one thing we did. And then the other thing we did is we wanted to update the types of this session object, because by default in auth.js and in NextAuth, the user type only has like an ID and an email or something like that. We wanted to attach this other property, and eventually we might attach other properties to a user. So we had to override some types. And where did we do that? Yeah, oh, there's literally a file called types. And so this is how we're getting more TypeScript stuff in here. So basically we override the session type to add things like the settings object. And so that way we can use that user object throughout our code base, and it's fully typed and we have access to settings and everything else. But yeah, that's that library. And then on the front end, we're using Tailwind along with Skeleton UI. So Tailwind is a utility-first CSS framework. You probably have all heard of it. So we're using that, but we're specifically using that because of the UI library we chose to use. So Skeleton UI is a UI kit built for Svelte and SvelteKit. And so what that means is it gives us things like a button component or a menu component. So if we look at the specific components, like let's look at like app bar. So this is a component that has like a place for the title and buttons and all this kinds of stuff. But if you want to use it, you will literally import a component called app bar. And that's been defined by this library. But they also give us CSS. So like if we want a nice looking button, we will use the BTN class. So it's kind of like Bootstrap, but built on top of Tailwind, so we can use Tailwind classes along with it. And so that's what we're using for all of our UI components. So like these buttons and like this list, and then things like these cards and like form inputs and stuff like that. All of that is coming from Skeleton UI. I don't have an IRL channel on YouTube. I think I will eventually, because I should start posting VODs. But right now, all of the VODs are on my W3CJ Twitch channel. Yeah. What's a good way to implement tokens if we have a front end? Is a good idea to implement the refresh token. Typically, that stuff should be, depending on what API you're integrating with, that typically needs to happen on the back end. But I got to keep moving. I can't answer too many unrelated questions right now. Yeah. 3 parts seems reasonable. Yeah. What's up, Lambos? Welcome in. Yeah, which is hard to do. Yeah, that's the whole point, Chad. it's React roots, like the roots of a tree. And like that's the other aspect, I think, is like it's building a strong foundation for your front end web development career. Because if you have strong roots, that's a strong foundation, I guess. But roots are a tree, trees are in gardens, coding garden. Boom. Yeah. Yeah. I got a color. It's true. Yeah. Yeah, so we're only streaming on YouTube now because it's better for me. More people will see my live stream after I'm done live streaming, and we'll continue to see it. I mean, just to talk about it really quick, like, let's go to my channel, click on live, and then order by popular. This is a live stream I did 3 years ago, and it has 278,000 views. And the reason is I did that live stream once, and then YouTube kept recommending it. If I go live on Twitch, the minute I'm done streaming, that VOD does not get recommended to anyone. And you could say, oh, we'll just post the VODs on YouTube. It doesn't have the same amount of takeoff, right? So if you look at our the Coding Garden archive, because this is just uploading 3-4 hour videos and they don't have the initial number of views from the live stream itself. Like when this live stream is done, it'll probably have like almost 1,000 unique views, and that kicks it off in the algorithm. Whereas if you just upload a 3-hour video to YouTube and your channel, it's not going to get that many views. And so like all of these live streams are like don't have the same discoverability because they were uploaded to YouTube. They didn't actually happen on YouTube. So all of that to say, I'm streaming on YouTube because I'll grow more. I will grow more, and potentially we'll be able to keep doing this. Yeah, chat's working. I'm just 4 minutes behind. Yeah. Yes. All right. We're back. What do you mean I have a lot of YouTube? Oh yeah, like you saw my notification bar. All right, what other okay, so we talked about what we're using for the UI. Let's talk about TypeSafe I18N. It's all YouTube content. Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's like honestly switching to Twitch I think was good, especially for new discovery, but Twitch is not a good place for live streaming coding if you want those live streams to be discoverable after. Like it's a completely different story if your goal is to edit and cut down your live streams for short form YouTube content or shorter form, like 20 minutes or less YouTube content. That's a thing you can do, but that requires effort and planning. Both things I don't really want to do. like that's not my style. The whole reason I got as popular as I am is doing exactly what I do right now. I go live, I live code, I end the stream, and then people watch that stream afterwards. That's what I do, and it's what I do best. So that's what I'm gonna keep doing. But let's talk about TypeSafe I18N. So like I showed you, if you look at the app, things like this button that says create right here. The drop game, yeah, only one person has landed in the drop game. So in an application that doesn't have internationalization, you would just literally write the word create in your code base, like inside of a button tag, right? Or you would just write the word logout inside of a button tag. But what if you want to translate that app? So what if this app now needs to be in Spanish or German or some other language? Well, how do you handle that? Because you now have hard-coded strings all over your templates, and you're going to need to like extract those out into some kind of variables, and then the variables need to be able to be replaced depending on the language detected by the browser that the user visiting your site has their browser set to. If that my words got mixed up there, but let me show you how this is working. So specifically, if you look at this this button right here, let's see how it is rendered. So we currently are on the home page. So if we look in our routes and we look at layout.svelte, that's actually going to show the list, but I think it's not going to be the layout, it's going to be the page. That's svelte. Yeah, so you can see this is where we render the list of lists. So that piece of code is all of this stuff here. So right above it is the button. And if we look at this, there is no word create, right? So like if you weren't doing this with internationalization, the way that you would write it is like this. You would just literally put the word create right here. And this is probably what you're used to if you've never done internationalization. You would just put the word create and it would work the same way, but the moment you want to translate it, you would run into some issues. And so basically what we have is named tokens that can be swapped out depending on what the language is. I see the word create, yeah. Let's take a quick stretch. Yeah, what's up, Babak? Welcome in. I mean, honestly, the first hour here is just me explaining the project, which is fine. So anybody that's new to the project is getting a rundown of how all the stuff is put together. But you see this right here. We are specifically calling this create function, which pulls in the token, and we have our tokens organized by page and type. So if you look in the code base, in lib, there is an i18 directory, and basically every language that we want to support gets its own folder. And then the way that this typesafe i18 library works is English, or you get to choose which language will be your base type. So English is going to be our base type, and then we define all of the tokens. So we have things like so right now, message hello world is really the only thing that's translated to other languages because we haven't really even solidified on the layout and format. And then also we've determined we might actually even have to use a separate library for this. But for now, you can see how it's laid out. We have a section for all of our buttons, like our buttons that are used in a lot of places throughout the apps. We have a section for labels, a section for enums, a section for errors, and then any page that has something that's not general and it's like specific to that page, we then have a section for it, for like the root page, the onboarding page, the create page. And so all of our text goes here. But then if you want to translate this app, you then inherit from this base translation type. So let's say we're translating to German. In here, right now, we are just pulling in all of the English translations as default, and so we don't get a type error. But if I comment that out, now we're actually going to get a type error because it'll tell us we are missing all of these things. So we're missing buttons. All right, so let's say I'm going to translate this app into German. I need buttons. And then I also need like the create. And then I would do create in German. What's create? Schaffen. So I would put this here. Okay, and then what else do I need? I also need, oh no, not there. Edit. And then, how do I say edit in German? Redigieren. Redigieren. I don't even know if this is like in the correct form, but basically, yeah, so someone is even telling me like erstellen is how you would do it instead. I don't know. We would get someone that is better in German than me to translate this thing. So why is this wrong? Why? Why is this giving us the wrong words? And so this isn't even Google Translate. This is some verbieten, editieren. Regardless, we're going to delete these. But what I wanted to show you is now, if I were the German speaker trying to translate this, I now get type errors that say, here, these are all the things that you need to translate in order to make sure that you have the right type safety here. But for now, we're not going to do that because we haven't even settled on what the original English versions are first. But basically, for every language, you would have that, and you would translate the application. But what that means is now anywhere in our app where we have some kind of rendered text, whether it's like a placeholder or a label or something like that, we pull it in via that translation library. And that automatically will swap out the text depending on the detected language in the browser. And so basically when the app is first rendered, so it gets rendered on the server side with a specific translation, and that's because of this middleware right here. So this runs on every single request, and it uses the accept language header. So every web browser, when it makes a request to a server, it sends along an accept language header that says these are the languages that this user of the web browser prefers their pages to be rendered in. So we get that language, and then we set the locale. So if we support that locale, anything will be rendered with that specific locale. Thank you, Mr. Tomro. So yeah, that's internationalization. All right, is there anything else I'm missing in our app? I guess we should also talk about testing. So for end-to-end testing, really like integration testing, we are using Playwright. When are we adding support for Lang using URL paths or param? Eventually, and it won't be that, it'll be in your settings. So we're gonna have a settings page, like you'll go to your profile, it'll have settings, and then you can set your preferred language there. And that's typically a feature you want to have because some users some users that are fluent in multiple languages might have their default language set to one thing, but then when they're using an app, they want to use a specific language. So there'll be a profile settings page where you can choose what your preferred language is. Are all translations stored on the front end? They're stored in both places, but yes, yeah. There's a way to optimize this so that we only send the translation tokens that we need. I think right now, because it's possible to change the translation on the client side, like we could have a dropdown where you could select your language. Yeah, that could result in more code being sent to the front end because it's getting all of the translations, even ones that it doesn't need. There's definitely a way to optimize it. There's definitely a way to say only send the translations that are needed. Yeah, and so there are tools for this. We haven't even gotten into that. That's on our to-do list. Like most people doing the translation don't want to be working in a TypeScript file. So TypeSafe IETNN actually has loaders for like JSON files and stuff like that. Because there's a standardized format that translators know how to use. And so basically that's the other aspect of this is we need to get this into a standardized format. So that way, if we were to use some of the tools, like there are translation platforms out there where you can sign up and collaborate, and basically non-technical users can contribute the translations. But in order to do that, we have more work to do. But basically, we need to get it into a standard format. Yeah. Well, I don't have a dynamic route with a Lang token. We could have done it that way, but I want all of the. Yeah. So yeah, there's some thought that needs to be put into that because typically, if you're also worried about search engine optimization, you want the search engines to be able to index the things you have in other languages as well. And so in order to get that, we probably would want to have like the locale in the URL like that. And that way a search engine would be able to crawl all the different languages and then index it in the different languages, and then you'd get the results in other language search engines and stuff like that. We're not doing that. We probably should do that. There's a lot we need to do. There really is. If this project was my primary focus, what would be my estimated time to finish it? I don't know, because we have not done the work of really laying out all the work that needs to be done and then potentially estimating that work. Because so right now, even though we do have things like GitHub issues, all the things we want to implement are not here and they're not prioritized. And right now, we kind of just do what we want because it's mainly me working on this with a few people contributing every now and then. So I kind of just show up and start working on things that I know need to be worked on. In the real world, I would have a specific target and goal for like what I'm trying to, like what I want to build and what I'm trying to do. And that would be much easier to estimate. I would say right now, like I don't even know where the finish line is, so it's really hard to estimate the finish line. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not familiar with the translation tools. So I think Dredao was mentioning OneSky, haven't used that. And then Inlang is another one that I haven't used. Yeah. Yeah, so some of the file formats are JSON. Like there's a very specific one. Specific format for storing translation files. All right. We were talking about Playwright and end-to-end tests. So Playwright enables reliable end-to-end testing for modern apps. If you're familiar with Cypress, this is similar, but from Microsoft. But it does similar things. Well, yeah, yeah, you're right. I need to add Redis. But yeah, this is for our end-to-end tests. And I guess I could show you the test run. So this was the whole point of the stuff that we set up. Is now, even if I have my dev server running, I should be able to run the tests and it won't even conflict with my dev server. I hope there's not any setting that I changed. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can do npm run test end to end, and it's going to run completely in isolation. So like it spins up a Docker container for the Postgres database. It spins up a Docker container for our Redis database. It runs the seeds and migrations for our Postgres database. It spins up another container for the app to run inside of. It does all of that all with one command. So here we go. So it kills the previous containers, brings those containers back up. It's running the migrations. Cool. Now it's building the application in production mode with Vite. I guess technically we could put Vite on the list of things. And then after the build, it runs the tests. So yeah, the build is done. Now the tests actually run with Playwright, and you can see the tests are running in parallel. So like test 4 completed even before test 3, and like test 5 and 6 are all running in parallel. And this caught the error that we ran into earlier that we need to fix. That because now we have failing tests, which is bad, but we already know there's an issue. So I'm glad that these issues were actually caught by our tests. But we ran into this earlier. For whatever reason, when I created a new list, it errors out. Like it doesn't actually load these here. So test failed, and that's good. That's a good sign because the app is breaking right now, and we need to fix that. Why so many different databases in the same solution? So let's talk about databases. So our Postgres database is where all of our data is stored. So like our users, our lists of channels, our metadata about videos and metadata about channels, all of that is stored inside of Postgres. The information about specific YouTube videos like this, so things like the number of views of the video, when it was posted, the duration, the number of likes, the title, and then even more details like the description. All of this stuff comes from the YouTube API. And if we had to request all of that from the YouTube API every time we loaded this page, that would be a lot of requests. So right now there are 5 channels in this list, and each channel probably has at least 100 videos, if not more. And the way the YouTube API works is if we want all of this metadata, like title, well, you can get title and description from a single endpoint, but if you want extra info like number of likes, duration, views, those, each video you have to request separately. So right now, the page isn't optimized. Like I can scroll all the way down and I can see videos from 10 years ago. But the reason that I can do that is because we made an initial request to the YouTube API for every single video. We got all of that metadata, and then we put it into Redis. And Redis is a key value store with like really quick lookups, and also works in memory. So basically, we had to make that request to the YouTube API once. We put all of that info inside of Redis, and now every time I go to this page, it's basically instant. Like there's like a split second, and within that split second, I was able to get like 1,000 videos and all of their metadata out of our Redis database instead of calling the YouTube API. So that's why we're using Redis for that. And right now we cache it for 24 hours. So there's a lot of considerations that need to be made in terms of like how long we cache it and stuff like that. But right now, it's every 24 hours. So if one of these channels were to post a new video to YouTube, right now, you wouldn't see it for 24 hours. Like when you come back in 24 hours, it would say, oh, well, that cache is now expired. It would call the YouTube API. In the future, we want to have like little refresh buttons next to these channels. So like if you know one of your favorite channels posted a new video, you could click that, and then that would refresh the cache for anyone that has that channel in their one of their lists, that kind of thing. There's a lot of more things we need to consider. Right now, it's just the basic working version of it. The other thing is we don't want to put all 5,000 videos on the page at one time. Now that we have cached all of that info inside of Redis, we can further query it in a faster way, and in ways that you couldn't query the YouTube API. Because if I want to query for all of the videos from all 5 of these channels that have more than 1 million views and have been posted in the last 6 days, there is no way for me to ask the YouTube API for that specific filterable type of information. But now that I have all of this stuff cached, I can do those kinds of queries. And so eventually that's the kind of features we want to have, right? Like show me all the popular videos from the last 6 days of these channels that reached a certain number of views. Like you could set those filters here and it would be instant because we already have all of the metadata. And so that's why we're storing all of that stuff, because there would be no way to get that info instantly from the YouTube API. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's why we're using Redis, and then we're just using Node Redis, which is like the de facto. Right? Is it just Redis client? We can double check. As we can see in our libs here, we have the Redis connection. No, it's literally just called Redis. Yeah. So Redis lets us store strings. So actually, yeah, let me just pull up the Redis UI really quick so I can show you what is actually in the database. Oh, I think I honestly I might have said something wrong here. Like I don't know if we can actually do like a nested JSON query in Redis unless we're storing it in a specific way. Maybe we can. maybe we can, but if not, we could swap out this Redis store for something else that would allow us to do queries the way that I'm talking about. So this is what our Redis store looks like. Every time we put something in it, it has a specific key, and we define what that key is. So in this case, YouTube :videos : channel ID and the specific channel ID. So anytime a YouTube channel is added to another list, if it already exists in the cache and it hasn't expired, you can see that all of these expire in 22 hours or 23 hours. If it hasn't expired, it's just going to be served from the cache. And you can see some of these are really big. Like my guess is that's probably Coding Garden, because I have like 400 videos. Let's see. It might not be. No, it's not. Oh no, it's Good Mythical More. That would make sense, because Good Mythical Morning has been around for a very long time. So they have a lot of YouTube videos. That's why their cache size would be so big. But in here you can see that you can choose the type, and then the editor like automatically highlights it in the right way. But in actuality, this is just stored as a giant string right here. So yeah. JSON path syntax, yeah. So yeah, and Muntahai is saying, truly appreciate your videos. They're incredibly helpful for students like me. Your insights, explanations, and experiences surpass paid courses. Well, thank you, Muntahai. Appreciate that. So yeah, the extra querying I was talking about technically could just be done in memory, like inside of our SvelteKit app, like on the back end. But there's probably a way to do it within the database too. But eventually we're going to want to do that. So we'll figure out how to do that whenever we get there. All right. Anything else that I'm missing? Yeah, I guess we won't even mention Vite, but let's we'll just put a bullet point for Docker, because specifically our tests are containerized, but also our databases are containerized. It's the official Redis browser. It's called Redis Insight. It's from Redis themselves. You can just download it from their site. What was I doing? Oh yeah, we're just gonna talk about Docker. Oh yeah, and then for testing, we also have coverage reports with Istanbul. I guess I could look at the package JSON to see what all of our dependencies are. So we haven't, that's the thing, is we haven't set up a vtest yet. We technically have it, but we have no unit tests. Oh, I need a section for code quality. Because we're using ESLint. We're also using Prettier. Istanbul, not Constantinople. The thing is Istanbul just called, yeah, it's actually called NYC. And then we're also using Husky for commit hooks. Istanbul command line interface, yeah. And then we have pre-commit hooks with Husky. So anytime we attempt to make a commit, it runs our linter, it runs Prettier, and if either of those fail, it won't let us commit. And then after that, it runs our integration tests. And if the integration tests fail, it won't let us commit. So yeah. And then we're also using the ESLint Airbnb config. Integration test for every commit? Yes. Now, you might be saying, that's a lot. You can disable them, right? So if you're working on a feature and you don't want to like, let's say it's like a work in progress commit. You don't need to run the integration test for that. But right now, integration tests are all we have. So that's why we're running them on commit. Yeah, so we're using ESLint config Airbnb. Is there a specific TypeScript one? Yeah, is it this one? Yeah. And then, yep, you're totally right, Dr. Phantom. We're using a thing called lint staged. So typically, if you just run prettier or if you just run ESLint, it's going to run it for every single file. But when we're committing, we only potentially want to run it for the files that were changed or touched. Lint stage does that for us. So lint stage determines which files have been staged for commit, meaning they have changes, and it only runs prettier in ESLint for those specific files. So it doesn't have to run across our entire code base every time we commit. Now, eventually we can try and combine that with the tests somehow. Like the tests should only run tests where the tests are running for a file that has changed. There's probably a way to do it. We don't have that set up though. Cool. Don't you need to only run them on PR? You can, and if anything, you definitely should run them on every PR. If you're gonna do one thing, you should run them on every PR. But if you want your developers to make sure that their tests actually pass locally before trying to make a PR and pushing that up to GitHub, you can run them locally, which is what I like to do. Like the other aspect of this is anyone contributing to this code base is potentially someone completely random that I don't know. And every time the CI runs on GitHub, and that's the other thing we'll put here is CI CD. So we're using Docker, but also we're using GitHub Actions. And anytime someone makes a PR, I think I have to whitelist or allow list their GitHub username to run the things. But anytime someone makes a PR, that's why you see this check or this X here, because the test will run on GitHub Actions. And every time those run, that needs to spin up a server. That server runs all the stuff. And you only get a certain number of free runs in the cloud, right? I think maybe for open source projects we get enough, but I am of the opinion that all of those things, including your end-to-end tests and everything, should pass and run locally, and you should make sure that they pass and run locally before you push that up for the CI server to run those tests, and also your linter and prettier and everything else. Now, if you already ran them before your commit and you don't want Husky to run them like in your pre-commit hook, you can skip them. You can do -- no verify, I think it is. But you should know that your tests are passing and your linter and everything else is good before you push it up to GitHub or whatever source control tool you're using. Yeah. Yeah, and then thank you, Easy Light, Zod for validation. Zod. So we're using Zod. Open source is free forever and unlimited, but think about the energy, the amount of electricity that has to be used, and also think about lazy developers, right? There are some that will use it as an excuse to push the code up, to let all the stuff run on the CI server, and then when it fails, they go back and try to fix it. You should run that stuff locally. It potentially uses less electricity. I don't know. I haven't heard of SonarLint. Yeah. So Husky specifically is just a Node.js tool for working with pre-commit hooks. Pre-commit hooks are a thing um, that are in Git. It has nothing to do with like Node or anything like that. But like Husky specifically just allows us to manage them through like Node and our package.json. Okay, yeah, let's pull up Zod. We have a couple of different places where we're validating data that's coming from the client side, and then also potentially validating data before we put it into our database, and that is all happening with Zod. So Zod is a schema validation tool, and where are we at? Works like this. You can define objects, define their properties and their types, and then use those inferred types, and then also use the validator to validate the data. So that's what we're using Zod for. Is there anything else? That's it. I think we've done it. It only took us an hour and a half, but this is our tech stack. Let me add the links to Docker. Oh yeah, the Google, you're right. The Google API. I'll add a link there. The difference between Yup and Zod. Zod has been TypeScript first. Like, what they were released as a TypeScript library. Yup added their TypeScript support later on, and there's some things that Yup can do that. Sorry, that Zod can do that Yup cannot do. If you go to the Zod documentation, they have an entire comparison section in their docs. And so they talk about these are the things that Yup cannot do that Zod can do. Code quality can raise a lot of team or internal discussions. Issues like number of parameters, conditions, on ifs, the way of comments are written, etc. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the whole point here. Is we want everyone on the team to be on the same page in terms of. What did I just copy? Oh yeah, I was gonna share this in the chat here. Yeah. Cool. For libraries, we will put the Google one that we're using. We didn't put auth, did we? Oh no, we did. We have auth.js. Okay, cool. Apparently we're using Luxon for dates. All right. We'll put it on the list. Yarn versus npm. We just use npm because it's the standard. Great. I'll go ahead and I guess I can't push this up because. All right. I'm going to take a 1-minute break, and then when we come back, we're going to actually start working. And I think the first thing we'll do is merge a PR. Because this PR right here, I think, fixes the issue that we were having. The error they describe is similar. Yeah, this is the error that we're getting right now, and then they fixed that. So I think we're just going to merge this in. Honestly, we can see that the tests pass for them, which is a good sign. So I'm just going to merge it in. I'm just gonna merge it in. Actually, I think I can right now. So the other thing that we have set up here are workflow things in GitHub. So on GitHub, we say that a PR can't be merged unless it's been reviewed. So I will review it. Looks good to me. Let me confirm. I think they wrapped it in IDs.length. So if IDs.length, if IDs has a value, do all of this stuff. Otherwise, we're going to return an empty array of videos. I'll just merge it in because if it doesn't work, we'll fix it. If it doesn't work, we'll fix it. So I approved it, and now these things can be merged. The other thing that we do is we squash and merge. So this PR only had one commit, so that's totally fine. But if they had multiple commits, we only want one commit on our main branch, so we want to make sure that we squash those. Cool. So merged in, great. Now I want to merge main into my branch that I have locally, like this. Oh well. We'll pull the changes from origin and then merge main into the current branch that I'm working on. Are you sure? Oh. I think I have to do origin main. And there's a conflict. So let's fix that conflict. Yeah, we're still working on coverage reports. There's a conflict in this file. Origin main is exposing port 3000? Sure. Yeah, if it breaks, we'll fix it. So this is an example of lint stage running. So now we'll see if the tests actually pass with this change. It exists down in the file. Oh. Oh. It's fine. It's honestly fine. Actually, let's kill it so that it doesn't that. Yeah. Sizimon, rewind the stream an hour, and we talked about Drizzle versus Drizzle versus Prisma. I will say the particular reason is Prisma isn't just an ORM; it's an ecosystem of things. So what I like about Prisma is it's a single source of truth. So I have my Prisma schema file, and then I can do a lot of things with it. Right now, we have our types that get generated. We have the SQL that gets generated, and then we also have like a entity relationship diagram that gets generated all from that same schema file. And then there are other plugins you can have, like TRPC generators and Zod generators that all work off of that one source of truth. So that's what's nice about Prisma. All right, let's try again. Well, Drizzle is the name. I think. Oh no, it's Drizzly. There's an alcohol delivery app that at least is here in Denver where I live. And they're called Drizzly. they deliver alcohol to your door. All right, we're hoping the test pass. Please test pass, please. No! One of them failed. Viewing a list shows the list of channels and lists of videos. So we have 2 tests failed. Clicking a video card loads the video page. This might not have been the right fix. up, Fob? Welcome in. Let's see. Like this. Did this get fixed? It did. Yeah, why did it pass on the CI server? Did we discover a different issue? Oh, happy birthday, Fob. Is your birthday today? Did you just show up so I would sing you happy birthday? Also, do we support live streams? Apparently we do. You get live streams for free. Oh, your sister's B-Day. You mentioned that. All right. Yeah, I think we have this. So this has both of Primogen's channels. Does this work? Clicking a video card loads the video page. Hmm. I'm gonna try again. It should work. It should work. If not, there's potentially something wrong with our seeded data. Yeah, that's a good point, Veeb. It's like what channels are we testing with? And I thought we were testing with the Coding Garden channel. It's possible. Yeah, well, that's where we will look next. Okay, that's where we need to look next. So specifically, this test. Viewing a list shows the list of channels and list of videos. Flickering elements? Are you talking about in the YouTube video itself, Bob? Like it's flickering there? Or like this? Like this tends to happen. It's like the encoding that OBS is doing, like dark colors flicker. Is that what you're talking about? Thank you, Chad. I appreciate that. What are we doing? Let's look at how our tests run. Okay. This is test number 10. View a list. Is that the one? Oh, any video you watch. See if you have any like YouTube specific extension. Maybe you need to turn it off. Yeah. What's up, Thrash? Well, the cool thing about streaming on YouTube is you can rewind. So if you go back to the beginning of the stream, I explain exactly what list it is. Feel free to do that while I'm debugging. just rewind to like the 11 or 12 minute mark. Oh, you're right. We could try your. Well, here's the issue, Veeb. I don't think we can run these in headed mode because it's inside the Docker container. That was one of the issues with running the end-to-end test inside a Docker container. Maybe it's possible. All right, view video.test is failing, and then also view lists. Yeah, let's look at view list first. So, we grab the list ID. We go to that list, and then to be greater than. The list of videos is empty. Is there a way to make those errors show? I think it's because of the Docker output. Like, technically it shows as red here. You're totally right, though. Run the test locally to see if it's only failing in the container. the issue, like our tests are dependent on our fixtures, our test data here. Wait, what? What's a playwright issue? And then this does it in headed mode? Oh boy. See you later, Fob. Thanks for dropping in. I mean, I don't think I need to run it though, because what it's telling me is the list is literally empty. So I just need to debug the specific data that's supposed to be showing up here. I also just have to remind myself what we're doing here. Let's look at our seeded test data. Because for this specific test, the view list one, data at users.usertypes.hasList. So index 2. So 0, 1, 0, 1, 2. It's going to be this last object here. This is the user that we're testing. And we're saying grab its list and its list ID. So this is all Coding Garden videos. Oh. Oh. We need to update the seeded data because the YouTube channel has changed. There are new YouTube videos that have been posted to both of these channels. Or no, I guess not. No, never mind. So we don't have the channel metadata. We just, or like the video metadata. We just have the channel metadata. So this is the Coding Garden channel. And then this is the Coding Garden archive channel. That's all we have in here. So the list exists. We go to that list. The channels exist. But then the videos don't load. Yeah, it would be good to have the browser actually launch. Let's try running this in headed mode. Okay, here we go. Our Docker test file runs playwright test. But what we want is xvfb run. Let's see if this launches it in headed mode. And we also need to do in our playwright config. How do I set headless true? I probably don't need the npx. I'll fix it. Use. It's under use. Like that. That's what we want. So run that npx playwright test. Wait. like this. There. So run it in headed mode. Here we go. No, we still want NYC because we still want the coverage reports. We don't see anything. It's not showing us the UI. I don't Oh, view list worked this time. We only had one failing test this time. What? um and then view video failed. Man, do we just need to add some sort of like timeout here? That would be ridiculous if that's the case. Also, let's not do it with that. Let's see. So the way it would run with the UI is via X11 and then this thing XVFB, which would basically give us a UI into the actual Docker container. It's possible. It's technically possible. Everything fails now. Great. I don't think we're doing lazy loading. The cards should still exist. The images are lazy loaded though. Oh, looks like you launched a headless browser without Xserver. We need to change our config back. Get rid of this. What is locator card? It's looking for all the elements on the page that have the card class. This, yeah, I mean, you could be right, Veeb, that it has to load that metadata, so it's finishing sooner than we thought. How do we wait for it though? Let's look at the elements because we could say wait for video list if video list isn't on the page. Let's see. So if we look at routes list by ID, page. So we have the progress bar here. And yeah, so we need to wait for the video list. Let's do that. Wait for selector. Can you wait for test ID? You might be right, America 2050. Because then the list of cards is 0. I don't know. Let's see really quick. It's worth a try. Playwright. Wait for test ID. That'd be. I think you're right on that, Matej, which is a good sign, right? So if one of the tests is passing, that means Redis was fast enough for that test, but not for the other one. So we do need to wait for loading. Wait for the loading to finish. And I guess what I determined is video list will not exist unless the list of videos has been returned from the backend. Um, right? And then for the watch page, let's look at the watch page. Yeah, video embed will not exist until the data has been loaded from the backend as well. I mean, we could try doing this. I feel like this is the same thing. Let's try that. So that's for view list. And then for view video, we need to do a similar thing. So wait for the specific test ID. Oh, we don't have the await on it. Await that. No, not that. Video embed. We don't have await on it. I guess technically it awaits here. I guess I'm not familiar with how the test should run. Let's try it now. It's sync. You're right, because get by test ID returns a no, first returns a wait has no effect on this expression. You're right. You're right. All right. We need to read the playwright docs, make sure that we're doing it correctly. If this passes, it's lucky. We'll confirm that yeah, so it didn't pass. What if we okay, so let's go back to what we had. We'll do await page dot wait for selector. And then we need to do something like test ID equals like this, I think. Data test ID. Let's see. Yeah, I don't do a lot of data visualization, Vicus. So that's why I haven't really worked with 3 much. I don't have any videos on Go. No. All right, view video is failing. Wait. This one. Oh, because then we need to await it here too. Oh, wow. Is this really what we needed? So over here, before we get the list, we need to make sure the video list exists. All right, if this passes, we're doing the right thing. We're waiting for the element that's typically loading to exist first. I think it is shark turnup. So like if you're using JavaScript itself, it's like element.dataset. But if it's just a like a CSS selector, I think you do need the data dash part. Yes, that was it. That was it. So basically, the way that I wrote the view video test is it navigates to the list page, which has all of the videos on it. So we need to wait for those videos to load, and then it clicks the first video in the list, and then we need to wait for that to load as well. Great. Great. Cool. And Idris is asking, I want to move from rollup to either ESBuild or Vite for my shared packages in a monorepo. What do I recommend which has good support for SVGR and TypeScript? I don't know what SVGR is. SVG into React components. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, personally, I would probably go with Vite because Vite is basically just a wrapper for ESBuild, but there are a lot of and also like if you have custom rollup configs and custom rollup plugins and such, those already work with Vite. Because when Vite is in dev mode, it uses rollup, and then in production mode, it uses ESBuild. I don't know your specific use case. I probably would go with Vite, but I guess it depends. Yeah, it's true. How many programmers does it take to make a test suite pass? And our commit worked. wait for test selectors. Yep. Okay. Great. At this point, we can now get on with actually working on the project. We're only 2 hours into the live stream, and it's time to start some actual work. So, first of all, we fixed that bug. Great. But now we can also confirm that like when we're navigating the UI, the lists of stuff actually work. So if we go to a list we haven't seen before, like the Good Mythical Morning universe, oh, apparently all of that stuff was cached already. Or what about cooking channels? All of that is already cached too. Well, I guess technically it's loading faster than the loading spinner can show up. It's just that fast. Okay, so we fixed the bug. Great. What did we learn today? Tests take more time than actual development. Yeah, but the thing about it is now that the test passed, we know our code works. So even though we weren't actually working on features, we were still working on the code base because now that the test passed, we can be more confident in the features that we're working on, I guess. I don't know. Now we need to update dependencies. This is going to be another doozy. But here we go. But let's see. Idris is saying this use case for rollup or Vite versus ESBuild. Rollup plugin for TypeScript is very slow. The bundling plus TypeScript takes more than 30 or 40 seconds. You did a POC with ESBuild and it was just 10 seconds. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, if you can get it working with ESBuild, I've never worked with ESBuild directly. I've always used Vite, which I know uses ESBuild under the hood. But if you can get it working, minimal config, go with it. Okay. We're gonna run a package called npm upgrade, and I'm gonna run to the restroom for a minute while this runs. But basically, it takes a look at our package.json. It goes out to the npm API and determines what are the latest versions of all of our dependencies, and then it will interactively ask us, do we want to update a given dependency? Now, every single one of these in red is a potential breaking change. We'll revisit that when I come back. I'll be back in 1 minute. I have to go use the restroom, and then we'll I think what we'll do is we'll update everything that isn't a potential breaking change, and then we'll update the breaking changes one at a time on a separate commit. That's the plan. But I will be right back. Hello, I'm back. Did I move my streaming computer off the standing desk? Yeah, I did that a while back. Let me show you my setup, my layout now. One of the things that for the longest time I was unable to do is actually use this automated standing desk as automated. Because of the way things were laid out, I couldn't bring it up and down easily. But now I can. Watch. Ta-da! So yeah, now I can do that. And then my streaming computer is actually underneath that white table, so that way my microphone doesn't pick up the fans of the PC. So yeah. Breaking things are more interesting and exciting to the audience, probably. Okay, so like I said, we ran this command npm-upgrade. So npm-upgrade is a package someone wrote so that you can do an interactive upgrade. Anything that's red, I'm not going to auto update. And honestly, Yeah, anything red, I'm not going to auto update, and then we'll come back and see. So I don't want to update that. Don't want to update that. Don't want to update that. Update the Prisma adapter? No, that's going to be included with the changes to auth, so we'll skip that. Prisma client, even though there's a jump to version 5, typically doesn't have breaking changes. So I'm going to update it. npm check updates? Let's try it. I've never used it before. Honestly, I should look it up before I trust a random YouTube comment, but you're probably fine, professional Carol understander. Is this is NCU? This is NCU. Use the -I flag for interactive mode. I've been using npm-upgrade for forever. So. This is much better. Because now, well, I have too many dependencies. There's probably also like a command. Yeah, we were still on Svelte version 3? That's crazy. What's up, Oscar? I'm eating a Cliff Bar. We're gonna update Prisma. We're gonna update Prettier. And lint staged. And all of our ESLint plugins. TypeScript ESLint parser. Sure. What could go wrong? Wait. Skeleton went from version 1 to version 2. That'll be some potential breaking changes. All right. We don't want Google Client or auth or skeleton. Groups them by severity? Well, we have some breaking changes down here at the bottom. Right now, it's grouped by alphabetical. And then I don't want the next auth Prisma adapter update. All right, let's double check. Prisma client, we're going to upgrade. We're not going to upgrade skeleton. Tailwind forms seems fine. TypeScript ESLint, sure. Yep. All the ESLint stuff, sure. Lint stage, what could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? All the prettier stuff. Prisma is a breaking change, we'll upgrade it. Svelte, I don't think has any breaking changes. We'll see. All right, let's go. This could be the entire stream, honestly. Like, the fact that we haven't touched this code base in a month, and then ESLint config prettier might break some stuff. Well, we'll fix it. Oh. We updated Svelte, but we didn't update the dependencies that might need an updated version of Svelte. Let's do it again. So specifically, Yeah, we'll okay. So we'll add. We won't do the auth stuff, but we will do skeleton. Did these things just get an update in the meantime? Um, yeah, we'll update skeleton and then we'll fix any breaking changes from skeleton updating. But I guess we can't. I guess it's gotta be an all-in-one. We have to do it all at once. We're gonna fix all the breaking changes all at once. Here we go. Because these other things, we need the latest version to be able to use the latest version of Svelte. Okay. Now we're gonna run our type check. As you can't see that, we have a command that will run the TypeScript checker. Let's see if these breaking this is why I don't upgrade. Yeah, let's see if these breaking changes have broken in any of our types, because that will be the easiest to fix. Is just to go make sure that anything that doesn't pass the type check. Oh my goodness, the types are fine. If we run the linter. There we go. Love to see it. So at this point, we need to go look at the skeleton docs and find their documentation on the upgrade from 1.5 to 2, because we did the wrong thing in our skeleton config. So let's do that. I'm guessing in our Tailwind config, like this stuff here, we need to fix that. We need to fix that. Okay, here we go. Let's go to skeleton. And honestly, if we just look at their getting started guide, we can make sure we're doing everything right. Oh, we now need this thing. So their Tailwind plugin got moved to a separate package. That's why. So let's add that. And then we specifically bring the Tailwind plugin in, and then we don't do this silly stuff down here. That's easy. And then we need to make sure that this path is correct. Oh, path.join, require.resolve. Oh, this is common.js, so we need to require it. How does require work like this? I just forgot for a second how that works. And then why is this complaining? Okay, so we've updated that. Let's see if that works now. We probably should look at the blog post. Great. Great. We have a bunch of linter errors. I'm curious why the type check didn't catch those errors that are now caught by the linter. But apparently, if we just run lint fix, that should fix some things. So let's do that. Because I see some of the errors, like this one, have to do with the ordering of tailwind classes. So we're going to run our lint fix command, which will change the files automatically, and then anything left over we'll have to fix by hand. Okay. And then this error about being unable to resolve $app, that is because Svelte isn't running. So we need to, if you do this, this generates all like the internal types and everything. So that should fix some of those linter errors. Or at least if we start it up. Let's see if we can even start. Great. But we need to go look at the blog. We need to see what's the breaking change, because right now the error that just popped up is something about the theme missing its specifier. Let's see. V2 migration guide. Oh, we could have. Wait. Uninstall skeleton. Reinstall. Oh, no, we're not doing that. Migrating V1 projects. It says to uninstall it, then reinstall it. Do we already have types node? Add these directives in source app post CSS. Oh, it used to be that we didn't need to add these. They were added automatically. Now we actually need to add those. Okay. Remove the skeleton style sheet imports in layout. Okay, this is good. This is a good breaking. This is a good breaking change guide. Layout here. Yeah. So we don't want these anymore. Keep the import to app.post.css. Great. Install Vite plugin Tailwind purge CSS. I'm not going to worry about that for now. Okay. Migrate the Tailwind config. We've already done that. Yeah, we've already done that. We need to migrate our theme. So now in plugins, skeleton, we say themes, crimson. Themes, preset, crimson. I believe that was our that was the theme we were using, right? Crimson? Yeah, we were using crimson. In app, our body needs to say data theme skeleton. We have that. Migrating core features. We didn't use table of contents. We didn't use drawer modal or toast. Did I spell crimson wrong? I think this is data theme skeleton instead of data theme crimson. At least that's what this is saying. Set your active theme? Well, I think the other thing is because we only load this theme, then that should be the active theme, right? Right? We don't have a data table, autocomplete. We don't have any of those. I think this is all we need. That's it. We've done it. Hey, things are happening. It honestly looks a little bit broken. I'm gonna remove the SvelteKit folder because that stuff that gets auto generated. I'm going to remove it because there could be leftover stuff in there. Okay, docs, essentials, themes, enhancement. Oh, you're probably right. I do need data theme crimson. You're totally. That's why it looks the way it looks. Yes, because this is like the default theme, I guess. So we do want that. Okay. Now, here's the other issue though. So you can see the border radius is now there. We didn't have that. Now everything has border radius. I don't know how I feel about that. I thought we tried to override that, like here. I think the way you override border radius is different now. Am I on the right spot? Professional Carol Understander? That's a funny name. Essentials, themes, enhance. Oh, here we go. Enhancements. Preset themes may contain additional features such as heading font weights. I see. Okay. We want to include those enhancements. Okay. And then I want to make sure that I'm able to override these in the right way. So first of all, I need to install the post CSS extension. That's why I don't have syntax highlighting right now, or at least enable it. And then now, theme rounded container might not exist. Okay, so at least those variables still exist, but these might not be the root variables that that exist. I think we want. Well, we have. Yeah, we do have theme rounded container. Maybe we want none. So right now it's small. What if we go none? None. That changes nothing. Oh, I missed a bunch. Sorry, everyone. Oh, welcome in, Hushu. Good to see you. Yeah, I mean, we knew there were going to be breaking changes. We absolutely knew it. Try setting it to 0 pixels. No, it's just not what I'm expecting. Like I'm not changing the right thing. I think we have to maybe dig into it and see what variable they're using. What's up, Hamasil? Well, you can watch the VOD. I mean, honestly, the entire first 2 hours are me explaining the app and fixing tests that were broken from last time. So you did not miss much. All right. Card. Padding. Border radius is theme rounded container, which we have. We're overriding that. "24 pixels. But why? Are we overriding it in the wrong way now? Yeah, so we're overriding both of them. They're not being picked up. Let's just look at the docs to make sure that we're overriding these in the right way. Custom theme. So you can define a custom theme? Yes. Can I not override them in the root? That's unfortunate because we used to be able to do that. Um, or I guess the body? No. Uh, where'd you get that from? Is that in the thing that I'm reading? Overriding the link you posted. Here we go. Well, the issue is we're overriding that variable, but it's not getting set. Wait, we want that. Maybe. No, see, that doesn't even touch it. But yeah, let's see. So in docs themes. Yeah, see, they did it. Root. And I think the thing is, like, if we set these like to this, we can even look in the dev tools that these variables are not getting set to that. They're being overridden somewhere. Yeah. Restart the server, clear the page cache. Things are rounded. Yeah, it's not the cache. I'm curious if the theme generator even lets us set those variables. Oh well, we were wrapping it in theme because we wanted to access the variables, right? We wanted to access what they have set. But yeah, if we're setting it directly, we just put the values in. See, that button should not be rounded. Oh, here we go. Um. Oh, we specify it. Like that. Where does that get set? So we set those two values. Here we go. Theme rounded base. These are just getting set in the actual custom theme here. What if I don't want to do that? What if I want to set it in the post CSS? Well, no, I see it. I see it right here. But this is in a TypeScript file, and then that TypeScript file is referenced in the Tailwind config. The way we did it before, yeah. The way we did it before was in our CSS. Oh, is this a bug? Is this a bug? So check this out. We're using the Crimson. Well, never mind. That's just a bug in the docs because I turned the preview off. Like I set, like I want to use Crimson as a base of my config. Hmm. Is this part of our upgrade? Yeah, it is. I mean, ultimately, we could not care about this. Honestly, that's what I'm gonna do because I want to move on to do configure border radius. Yeah, we're gonna move on because this is how we used to do it. I have not been able to figure it out, so we're gonna come back to it. And for now, we just have a bunch of border radius everywhere. Oh yeah. Yeah, so we checked that, Luis, because we set them to 0. We used important, and basically, the stuffs was not getting loaded. It wasn't being overridden at all. And so so we're going to move on, but let me tell you my main concerns. If we were to define a custom theme, we would need all of the properties, but I want the base theme of Crimson. And so I need, as far as I can tell, I need all of the default values of Crimson in order to paste them in and then override the ones that I want to. I don't want to do that right now. That's too much. You'll notice before literally 2 lines of code, this change would be many lines of code to have all of the variables. I don't want to do that. It might turn out that we have to do that, but I don't want to do that right now. Yeah. Okay. At this point, I think that skeleton is working. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm done. I'm done looking at it. I appreciate the comment, Luis. But when I push the code up, you can try. But I'm pretty sure I did that. Well, I didn't look at computed, but we still saw the value of the variable, and ultimately I was trying to override the variable, which wasn't happening. Okay, now we need to make sure that auth still works because we upgraded our auth library. And it looks like it's kind of working. We'll see if the auth flow works. I don't want to commit just yet. Was it Hushu? What'd you say your name used to be? Yeah, Hushu. I have a bunch of other things that I'm working on. Okay. But here, honestly, you could try to replicate do this if you really want to figure it out. You can do it in isolation very easily. Generate a new skeleton project, and then in your app.postcss, try to override the variables. That's it. That's how you can replicate it. This is literally all it takes is specify variables in the root, try to override them, and see that it doesn't work, even in a brand new skeleton app. We're gonna test login. That's what we're at. That's where we're at now. We also have a bunch of other errors, but let's test login really quick. Okay, login seems to work. We do need to fix these other issues though. Let's start here. Line 70 in hooks. We're starting at the top. Hey. There's no linter error. The linter that's running in the terminal is different than the one in our editor. Oh, you know what? Let's reload the window because we haven't done that. Good. Good. Yeah. That's fine. We know that that's not an error object, but we literally overrided the type so that it would stop complaining. Here. So we said redirect extends error. It could be that this is the wrong way to override it now. Let's see. Redirect _1. That's funny. What is this it? Kit runtime redirect? At SvelteJS/kit. At SvelteJS/kit. Ultimately, we're trying to override the type to tell it that it extends error, so that way we can throw it. Because this is the way you do it in SvelteKit. Like in their docs, they say, yes, you should throw this thing. But technically, that thing isn't an error object, so that's why ESLint is complaining. And before we were able to override that type, and the override isn't working. Ooh. Replace implementations. This is a grotesque hack that in dev allows us to replace implementations of these classes you'd get by importing from here. Well. So this, ultimately what we're doing is we're overriding the type inside of that module. We shouldn't have to do anything specific in here. YouTube API is free. If you're trying to make a lot of requests, they might charge you for it. You might run out of quota, but they do have free. Well, the issue, Zyrus, is we do this everywhere. We would have to add a TS expect error in so many places, and I don't want to do that. Before upgrading, this worked. Before upgrading, overriding the error type worked. So there's got to be a way to make it work now. Oh, because it's not a type. Well, class redirect? Yeah, so it used to be an interface. Yeah, here's what we need to do. Okay, they changed it. They changed it from an interface to an actual class. You're totally right. You're totally right. Somebody said that, I think. Yeah. Okay. Honestly, I think redirect. Do we want to override the redirect one interface? Would that fix it? No. Okay, that's fine. And we're going to the original redirect. How do I do this? I need to define a class that extends two different classes, so that it extends um, OG redirect. I can't remember. I don't know how to do this. So we have two objects we want to inherit from. We need to. I guess we could define a type that extends OG redirect. No. Can you do a comma? I don't even know if this is possible. JavaScript class extend from two classes. Multiple inheritance. Let me know, Hushu. I can't even think through. I failed the interview. I can't even think through this. So we need to extend OG redirect. And then from there, extend the other. Like base class, mix in. Oh, you know what? We just define the whole type. Yeah. Oh, this is literally we literally just do this. We just copy it. Um, it's not amazing, but yeah, we just do this, and then we can extend from here like that. Done. And then same thing, HTTP error. Why is this complaining? Too many classes. All right, does this fix it? We don't want to disable the linter error, because if someone writes code like this, we want a linter error there. But we don't want a linter error when they throw the redirect here. Yeah, it's called redirect 1 for some reason. Is it because of this replace implementations thing? Thanks, Hushu. That should be an easy fix. Okay, yeah, we're at the point where, yeah, we will just disable the linter error. And drills, thank you for the tier 3. Appreciate that. We're just gonna... We're gonna disable this linter rule, which is you... yeah. Don't throw a literal. It's fine, right? So here in our ESLint file, we're just going to completely disable that rule. That fixes that. Great. Keep moving. This is hard. Why did I update? Because we have to. Like, if we don't update, like, we basically wrote code a month ago that is now legacy code. So, yeah. This feels wrong. It's just, you mean typing in the Twitch chat? All right, now the only linter errors we see have to do with being able to resolve app stores. So what's going on with that? Let's try to fix that. So, oh, this is fine. Yeah, ultimately, it'll be caught, hopefully will be caught in a code review. Anytime someone throws something, we catch it in the code review and we say, hey, it must be an error object, or if it's a SvelteKit thing. Okay, real quick, the fix that Hushu found was, instead of overriding root, we override root data theme crimson. Like this. We had to increase our specificity. Thank you for figuring that out, Hushu. Appreciate you. Hey, it worked. Now things are back to the way we expect. Nice, nice. Okay. Cool. Let's fix the app import error and then we should be done. Hey, Exxon. If you're finally watching on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess if you're watching, not only do people like Twitch chat better, but also they have all the perks of like their emotes and everything else that they don't want to lose on YouTube. So this allows them to do that. It was working fine, but it was technically legacy. It was legacy codes. All right. In our components, YouTube embed. Where was this? Source lib YouTube video embed dot svelte. This one. Here. Unable to resolve $app stores. TypeScript knows, ESLint doesn't know. I feel like this is something that we've tried. This is something we spent a long time on in the ESLint config, isn't it? I feel like we updated our TS config to have have these aliases. Is this wrong now? Maybe this is wrong. SvelteKit, kit types, app stores. And then over here in our TS config, ambient? Index? Like that? Did that fix it? did that fix it? I think we're there. Yes! Wow, that only took us 3 hours. All right. All right. Okay. Will the test pass? Look at all those change files. Okay. We updated dependencies. This is gonna run the type check, the linter, and the tests. If this passes, the commit will work. Yeah, well, I mean, the issue, G4G Bill, is like we haven't touched this code base in over a month. So like that's why there's so many changes in dependencies. We typically try to do it like once every week or every 2 weeks, but yeah. I haven't heard of it, Dr. Phantom. Let's look at it. What if your dev experience was boosted with AI? Here's the thing. I don't want to wait for the animations to complete, so I'm scrolling and I'm like, what are you showing me? Like, what is it? Seems fine. Cool. Test pass. No, test did not pass. Oof. Okay, test didn't pass. It has to do with Prisma, I think. Require of ES module. MJS not supported. Instead, change the require of app. It's not Prisma. Yeah, the error pops up during Prisma generate. Why is it happening? Is it happening during build? Pops up after Prisma? Did I not copy the right error? It has nothing to do with. Yeah, it's all about the Tailwind plugin. Require of ES module not supported. Let's just see what the internet has to say about this. Oh! Is it because my config is in... Well, my config is common.js. I don't think it's due to the ERD generation. Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with Prisma. CJ Skeleton says on their error page, just in case Skeleton no longer recommends the common.js format, we included this merely as a reference. Okay, good to know, but it is prettier that's causing it. It's not the actual Tailwind config. And if we look at our prettier file, I do believe it's this. That is breaking. But the thing is, we really want that because that organizes our CSS classes. Same plugin? Well, what did you do to fix it? Yeah, no worries. We'll figure it out. Huh. They just reinstalled it? I mean, I'm not opposed to that. Like, just delete our node modules. I mean, let's try it. Well, here's the thing. It happened inside the container, and I'm pretty sure the node modules get installed from scratch every time, don't they? Yeah, I'm not opposed to that, Hushu. So we convert to TypeScript for our Tailwind config, and then we don't use prettier.cjs. We just convert it to a JSON file. I like it. I think we can call it .json, right? Then we have to convert everything to JSON. Let's see if making this a JSON file changes anything. Wait. Yeah, so the thing is, like, our Docker container reinstalled our node modules from scratch. So it happened again. It reinstalled them from scratch the moment we changed the package.json because at that point the caches were the cached layers were out of date. So, okay. Let's make sure that ESLint and Prettier still work together. Like, let me reload the window, make sure Prettier is still working with a, like, if I do this, yeah, so this is what we want to see, because Prettier is now complaining about that. And so Prettier is now working still with the JSON file. Now we convert this to be a TypeScript file. Um, Okay, so we import the type. This is now a TypeScript file. Does Tailwind still work? Who's to say? Let's see if the app still runs in the browser. Okay, seems to work. I don't care about the no linting issue. What do you mean, the error one? No, that didn't fix it. For the other. Yeah, what do you mean about the no linting issue? What's up, Justin? Welcome in. It won't lint the config files. Oh no, it will. It will. It should. Well, oh, we would need to update our tsconfig to include TypeScript files in the root, which we have. Wait, why don't we have linting on this file? I don't know. I do have a few requires. How do I fix that? I guess we'll do this. Import path, import join from path. And then we don't want require.resolve. They still use require.resolve inside of a TypeScript file. Yeah, we'll do that. That looks hacky. I don't know. Synthefix for overriding styles. Oh, we already did it. We did it. This one? Is that what you're talking about? What are we doing? Okay, we still even with the change to a TypeScript file and a and a JSON file, it still gets this error. I'm also confused as to when that is even happening. Because the error it looks like the error pops up during Prisma generate. Why? Why does Prisma generate need to even include our prettier file? What? Or like our prettier plugin? Why? Um, npm run format? Yeah, you're right. So why is format running on generate? Maybe that's in our package. Oh, it can't be, right? Oh, yeah, you're totally right. We didn't update that. Here. We told it tailwindconfig.cjs, tailwindconfig.ts. That's what we want. Ignored unknown option, plug in search directories. I don't think it was the issue. Also, when we run Prisma generate, um, yeah, what is the format command doing? We'll check that next. Oh, don't do that. Also, why does the linter not um the linter didn't pick up those prettier errors. I guess it was looking at files that um weren't that. So because we formatted our package.json or a package lock, it's reinstalling the dependencies in the container, which I'm okay with because this could have been part of. Well, no, it wouldn't be part of the issue because it was happening not inside the container too. Let's see if we can narrow this down. Prisma generate prettier plugin tailwind CSS. That's the. It's got to be the weirdest combination ever, right? Can't be real. What? DB error. Checkpoint request failed. Consult recent messages in the server log for details. Schema core dev diagnostic. No space left on device. Is my computer out of space? It's possible. Oh, I got 40 gigabytes free. Maybe I need to like stop the containers. Thank you, Chad. Okay, so um, the issue that Veeb sent over might actually help here. Like if we go back to being let's remove the changes to the well restore the deleted file. Right? Is that what that button does? On stage. Okay. What they changed this to was import. Like that. Well, Docker's airing out. That's a completely different issue. Let's see if this command. Oh, okay. So Prisma generate doesn't give the command anymore. That's all we needed. All we needed was to put the word import. Yeah, and then you're right. We'll point that at the .ts file. That's a thing we can do, right? Yeah. Great. We fixed that error. Why is Docker out of space? 0 available. Yeah, that's what we want. Docker system prune. Prune. I just reclaimed 20 gigabytes of space? What? Crazy. Um, okay, how do I fix a dangling volume? is that in my Docker Compose or something like that? So I need to configure it in a way. container dingleberries. I need to configure it in a way that they're not dangling. I guess technically, okay, so these are coming from Docker Compose base. And the volumes are not specified there. Are they specified here? Yeah. Oh, no. Did I really just clear up 48 total gigs on my computer? Oh my goodness. That's crazy. I should do that more often. All right, here we go. But yeah, it has to download the images again because we deleted everything. Oh, thank you, Amasil. I appreciate it. Set up a task to do it automatically every week. Eh. Well, while that's happening, let's contemplate our life choices and the amount of files that have changed today. Here's the thing. It took us 2 hours to fix a bug and also explain what listed was. It took us an hour and a half to update dependencies. I think that's all we're gonna do today. I think to make it feel like we actually did something today, we will write one more test. Let's write a test. But also, we're hoping that these tests should pass. I'm pretty sure these tests are going to pass now. The version of Playwright and the package.json, well, they should be, I mean, they'll be the same. They will be the same. Because Playwright is, the version is listed in the package.json, and then Docker Compose just uses that one via npx. Yeah, they're going to be the same. Oh, you know what? No, you're totally right, though. Yeah, you're totally right. They may not be. I forgot about this because of this. You're right. They're not the same. I have a feeling these tests are gonna pass, but then once those pass, we need to make sure that we're pulling the version that matches the version. We need to pull the container that matches the version in our package.json. All right. These also failed. Please upgrade Docker image as well. They're now telling. I wonder why they weren't telling us before. Is that all I need to do? Let's see. I told you. Well, why didn't we get that error before? Oh, I guess because the container, the image had already been pulled. I don't know. Okay. Let's think about the flow of the app. We have a non-logged in user in terms of what tests we already have. We have a user that hasn't been onboarded, a user that onboards themselves, and a user that is onboarded. We can edit a list, create a list, view a video. I guess let's look at our, after these tests run, let's look at our coverage reports and then pick a spot that doesn't have coverage and we'll write a test for it. Here we go, moment of truth. Yes. Yes. Love to see it. Okay. This should have generated coverage reports. So if we go into the coverage folder, 2 workers, because we had so many tests, it's running them in parallel. We won't do a test for playing a video. That's outside of the scope of what we're working on, because the playing of the video is just the YouTube embed. We're not in control of that. All right. 84% coverage. Not bad. Not bad. If we look at onboarding, why is it only 77% of statements? And then get a list by ID. Okay, we're not testing the filter on the page. So let's write a quick test for that. Yeah, okay, it's not running. Here we go. We're gonna write this test, commit everything, and honestly, we'll just merge this into the main branch. And next time, we'll start on features and another branch. Okay. App loads. For instance, if we go to this list, there's this little search bar here. This searches inline. Like if I search for React, it filters the list to only videos that either in the description or title have the word React in them. Is that right? Sure. So we want to test that. Let's write a test for it. It's going to be very similar to view list, but we'll say filter list. So filtering a list only shows videos that match the filter. Okay, so go to the list. We're not trying to expect there to be, yeah, we don't want any of this. We want to wait for the list of videos to load. Count the videos. List video count before filter is that. And at this point, we will then type into the filter box, and then we'll say video count after filter will be something else. And then we want to expect the video count before the filter to be greater than the video count after the filter. This is the test that we're writing here. When we type into the filter box, there will now be less videos there. I don't think this is a live collection. I think this is like it gives those things back to you, and then do we want to check that the results match the filter? No. We could. I honestly, to me, in my mind, that's more of a unit test to make sure that our filter function is actually working as intended. I guess, right? Because there are multiple aspects that it's checking against that aren't visible on the page. That's why I was confused. Like when I searched for React, this video, what's visible right now on the page, the title the title of the YouTube channel, that doesn't have the word React in it. But if we go to that video, my guess is the description has the word React in it, right? And so we can't really test for that in the filter unless we click into the video, and we don't want to do that. So we're going to test what we can see and what we do know, if that makes sense. Right? Okay. List videos after is going to be that same query. We check its length. But now we need to select the filter element and type into it. So how do we do that? Let's see how we've done things before. So we want to get something by its label, click it, and then fill it. And yeah, we'll search for. Honestly, we should search for svelte is what we should do. We'll call this filter input. Okay. How do we select it? Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing is we need to import our translations. But the thing is, right now this thing doesn't have a name. It doesn't have anything. We need a label on that thing. So let's add that. So on the list by ID page in the component, there's gonna be a filter box here. It doesn't have a label or anything else. We want to make sure that it does. So if we look at like the edit page, what do our forms look like over here? Do like this span class label. Yeah, we're getting there. Do we test for accessibility? No, not yet. So we're gonna add a new label filter, and then honestly, this whole thing's gonna go inside of here. That's true, drills. If we search for coding, it'll return everything. What if I was working on the same project with Vue instead? What do you mean? yeah, we mentioned it. We had a moment of silence for Ivan. And someone mentioned, I mean, I'll have to look into it, but someone mentioned that library won't be taken over by anyone. There'll be some other library. So we'll likely migrate to that other library. All right, let's add a token for filter. So if we go to our internationalized tokens, we go to English. For labels, we want one for filter that just says filter. And now that should render out. Yeah, it says filter. So now in our test, we should be able to grab by filter label. Great. But now L needs to be imported into this test. So, what's up, Murdoch? Welcome in. Oh, would I feel more happy? Do I not look happy? this is just a lot of work because we're doing a lot of things. I honestly, if you watch the first hour of the stream, it's a lot. There's a lot here. I think regardless of the framework, whether it's Vue or React, all of the stuff combined is a lot. So that's just where we're at. Need to make sure we import L in the right way. So we import it from utils. So here, we also import L. Click it, put svelte in, expect all of that to be less. All right, we want a failing test first, so we're going to put a really big number. The test should fail. We're expecting them to fail because of this. But once they fail, we'll put the actual code, make sure that they pass, and then we know that we did the right thing. Oh, that's true, Ched. I think we talked about this issue whenever I was building the overlay. Their avatar is coming from a CDN we haven't whitelisted or allow listed. I shouldn't have more videos than that. Whoa. Create list failed? No. Okay, good. Filter list failed. Received 546. Expected a big that. Yeah, okay. So now if we say that the list videos before should be greater than the list after, this should pass because after we put the word svelte in, then the list will filter down and it will be less than the total number of videos. So we'll do this and it will be less. Here we go. Weren't we able to live reload the tests while writing them? Yeah, I didn't want to figure out how we did that because we didn't document it. So we don't need $L because we, in the utils file where we set it up, we already subscribed to the store. Yeah. Didn't work. It did not filter the list. Dang it. I've used PNPM sparingly. Like, there's a couple of times I tried to use it for a project, and then it broke because the node modules expected something to exist. So I just use npm now. You don't have to submit it. It's supposed to be on key up. Yeah, so on key up, it updates the filter. Oh, it's debounced. So do we need to wait? There's no way this fixes it, right? Right? In this specific scenario, it makes sense to actually wait. Like this, because we need to wait for that debounce before we check. So this isn't a hack. Change the listener to on input. Maybe you're right. So like if, well, no, because like if I fill this, it's still technically key up. My hope is that this fixes it, and I don't consider this a hack because we're literally waiting for the debounce to finish. Right? Normally you don't want to write rigid tests like this that have some sort of like pause waiting for a thing, but like how else do we know that the list has changed? Does fill fire key up? I don't know. If it well, that's what we'll look into next. I think it's the waiting too. It's got to be, right? Right? it's not. Well, set a value on the input field. It fills it and triggers an input event. Oh, you're right. You're right, Titanfuss. Because it's not a key up. It's going to be an on. It's going to be an input event. Totally right. Will that work in the same way though? I feel like we tried this. Is this input event? Update filter is what it's called. Okay, type error is gone. Let's see if it still works. Yeah, that's it then. Which means we don't need to do the waiting. Well, right now it's all a client-side filter. It's not requesting new data from the server. The server's already sent all of the data, and then the filter happens on the client side. All right, this has to be it. If this isn't it, I'm deleting the whole project. Maybe. Maybe? No. Man, I have to delete the whole project. Dang. Okay, as a concession, I'm not going to delete the whole project. I'm just going to delete this test file. Because if I delete that test file, the test will pass. Here we go. Wait, what? Okay, why are we not getting linter errors then? In layout.svelte, we have formatting issues. Wait, can we not run ESLint on svelte files anymore? Is that can't be a thing, right? Right? Okay. Line 23 and 24. Here's why I didn't see a red squiggly. Hmm. Yeah, exactly. All right. We made some changes. The thing is, I kind of want to merge it into main. The issue is, we still have things we want to do that we haven't done yet on this branch. I'm pretty sure. Let's look at the devlog. Yeah, we haven't updated. I mean, that could be a separate thing. Updating the contributing guide. Debug or watch mode. We fixed both of these. Yeah, the Svelte stores are working now. We're not doing that. Okay, here's the thing. Next time, we know what we need to work on. These things. Next time, I will for sure do a devlog. I'll basically give a wrap up. The thing, it's going to be like a 45-minute devlog is the thing, but it'll be a roundup of all the things we did on this branch. That's the plan for next time. But in the meantime, the code is on GitHub. So all the changes in code and everything we wrote today are wait, what's this? Oh no, not issues. We want pull requests. This branch here, the add coverage reports, which is basically just turned into a massive amount of code and changes. Yeah, 58 files changed. This is where all of our changes have been. Yeah, I mean, I said 45 minutes because hopefully it'll only be 20 minutes, but we'll see. Cool. All right, before you go, let me tell you about all my things. I have a mailing list. If you go to list.coding, did the CI fail for real? Man, oh, it failed. Why did it fail? Failed to load.env.test. No such file or directory. What? Do we need to create that? I guess we do, don't we? Oh, man. Yeah, we'll leave a note, and I'm not going to fix it today. We'll leave a note in the devlog. env.test does not exist on CI server. We'll fix it next time. Okay. Let me tell you, I got to get out of here. Let me tell you all the things. Yeah, we need to add the secrets. That's going to be a whole other thing. List.coding.garden, I have a mailing list. If my Twitch or my YouTube or my Discord ever go away, I will potentially lose contact with you. And in order to avoid that, you can sign up on my mailing list. I won't spam you. You can easily unsubscribe if you want to, but I send go live notifications, and then I try to send a weekly update every week. And then I also will start to send a weekly challenge every week. So join the mailing list so we can stay in touch. And you can also choose which lists you want to be on specifically. And that's that. Also follow me over on Twitter. And follow me and join the Discord. So we are trying to increase community engagement in the Discord. Right now, we have the daily stand-up channel. So people have been posting their updates every day of what they did yesterday. What are they going to do today? So if you're a self-learner, this helps keep you accountable. It also gives you some visibility into the community. And then we have a weekly discussion, which I need to update. But honestly, I think I'm going to update this on Monday. So that way we can have Monday can be the day whenever we have a new weekly discussion. But if you have opinions about the discussion that we have right now, feel free to comment on it. If you want to share in the daily stand-up, do that. You still don't. Oh yeah, and then if you haven't been in the Discord in a while, make sure you click on this channels and roles, and you're going to want to make sure that you say yes to discussion channels in order to see those channels. But also make sure you've completed onboarding, because if you also don't see those channels, then you might not be a seedling. So if you look at your user account, you're going to want to make sure that you have the seedling role. And the way that you get that is by emoji reacting to the welcome message, and then also sending an introduction that's the correct length. So if you haven't done that, then you won't have the seedling role, which won't show you the things. But it's multi-stepped, because you need the seedling role, and you need to go in here and check the things that you want to see. The other thing is, if you want to get go live notifications in the Discord, you need to make sure to check one of these boxes. So we have a specific role that we use whenever we're announcing, whenever I go live. And so if you haven't clicked yes on that, you won't get the go live notifications in Discord either. Also, pretty soon, we're going to have some kind of start to community events. So things like movie night, trivia night, whatever else we can come up with. And all of that's going to be handled in community events. So if you go back to that channels and roles channel, there's this here. Would you like to be notified and included in community events? If you check yes on that, once the organizers get going, they're going to ping you to respond to polls about when you're available, the kinds of things you want to see, that kind of stuff. So that's the Discord. Join if you haven't, because that's where we're all going to go after the stream. So thank you everybody for watching. I'll be live next week. The plan is to be live on, actually probably either Tuesday or Wednesday for some kind of Q&A stream, or like something will happen. And then next Friday, the 8th, we'll be working on this same app. We'll be picking up where we left off today. So that's it for today. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I appreciate you all. That's it. There's no raid. Let's get out of here. I may or may not do a raid on Twitch. So if you want to come raid with us, head over to twitch.tv/codinggarden. We're going to potentially find a coding streamer to go raid on Twitch. But that's it for this. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you next week. I'll see you in the Discord. Wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And until next time, here's this.